Hello, dear viewers, and welcome back to the channel, where we carefully explore the hidden tensions and dramatic undercurrents within the British monarchy. Today, we turn our attention to a development that's reportedly causing deep unease inside royal circles, a potential storm that could eclipse even the monarchy's most recent controversies. At the center of it all is Sarah, Duchess of York, Fergie, and a bold move she's said to be considering. One that could shake the royal establishment and alarm even her most loyal supporters. Among those most concerned are her two beloved daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. Yes, the specter of a tale. All memoir is once again hovering over the House of Windsor. A possible literary bombshell that, according to royal insiders, could inflict lasting damage not only on the monarchy but on Fergie herself. Before we unpack the tangled history and high-stakes tension surrounding Royal Lodge, don't forget to show your support, like this video, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our deep dives into the world of royalty. Now, to understand the pressure cooker that Sarah Ferguson currently finds herself in, we must first look at the fragile web of royal relationships behind the scenes. It's long been public knowledge that King Charles and his brother, Prince Andrew, were never particularly close. Their personalities, priorities, and approaches to duty couldn't be more different. Yet that natural distance has now widened into something close to open estrangement, fueled by years of scandal and shame surrounding Prince Andrew. King Charles, determined to restore the monarchy's dignity and streamline its public image, sees his brother's lingering influence as a liability the crown can no longer afford. And within that shifting royal landscape, Sarah Ferguson's fortunes have risen and fallen like the tide. Once ostracized for her own public missteps, she briefly found favor with the king, who extended a degree of quiet tolerance, perhaps in recognition of her devotion to her daughters and her steady support of Andrew through turmoil. For a time, it seemed possible that Fergie might be gradually welcomed back, not officially, but as a familiar, accepted figure on the periphery. But royal acceptance is a fragile privilege, and it now appears that the patience extended to her has run out. In recent months, palace sources indicate that new tensions and undisclosed revelations have reached the highest levels of the monarchy, and with them, a firm decision to once again distance the institution from the Duchess of York. The grace period is over, and at the center of this fresh rift lies a single, powerful symbol: Royal Lodge, the sprawling 30-room mansion on the Windsor estate. For months, there have been heated, high-level discussions about forcing both Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson to vacate the residence. What's unfolding is not a polite request for relocation. It's a potential showdown over royal territory steeped in symbolism and resentment. This is no mere relocation. It is, in essence, an eviction, an institutional decision fueled by the king's determination to streamline the monarchy, and more importantly, to distance the royal core from the reputational wreckage surrounding the Duke of York. The Royal Lodge is not just a residence, it is a symbol of continuity and privilege, a sprawling 30-room testament to royal permanence. For Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson, who have shared this home despite their divorce, it represents far more than bricks and mortar. It is their refuge, their security, and the last tangible remnant of their former place within the royal hierarchy. Now that sanctuary stands on the brink of loss, the possibility of being forced out of the very home where their daughters grew up, where their unconventional but close-knit family unit has endured, is nothing short of a final act of royal exile. It is from this deep sense of injustice, this belief that she and Andrew are being systematically erased from the monarchy's geography and history, that Fergie's next move may be taking shape. And that, precisely, is where the distress for Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie truly begins. Within royal and media circles, speculation is growing louder that Sarah Ferguson may be preparing a tell-all memoir, a daring, possibly reckless autobiography that threatens to expose decades of life within the most scrutinized family in the world. For Buckingham Palace, such a prospect is nothing short of alarming. Insiders reportedly fear the flood of revelations, reinterpretations, and personal grievances that such a book could unleash. Each page potentially reopening wounds the monarchy has fought hard to close. To assess the seriousness of this threat, we turn to the analysis of veteran royal commentator Richard Fitzwilliams, who has issued a stark warning about the consequences of such a project. According to Fitzwilliams, any insider's account is inherently damaging, but in Fergie's case, the repercussions could be especially destructive, to herself most of all. In a recent interview with GB News, he outlined the challenge that would define Fergie's endeavor: credibility. After years marked by financial controversies, media scandals, and shifting public perception, Fitzwilliams argues that any memoir from the Duchess would face intense skepticism unless supported by hard, provable evidence. He stated plainly, "I honestly suspect that if she ever did, it could be very harmful." He emphasized that the whole point of an autobiography is that you want to be believed, and there would be very considerable problems believing anything she said beyond provable facts. His words strike at the heart of the issue. A royal memoir's power lies entirely in its believability. If the public perceives Fergie's potential book as a revenge narrative, a thinly veiled attempt to settle scores over the royal lodge eviction, or worse, as a financial lifeline, its impact could backfire catastrophically. Without substantiated evidence, the provable facts Fitzwilliams insists upon, the so-called bombshell could implode rather than explode, damaging Fergie's credibility far more than the monarchy's. The harm, then, would be twofold: failing to deliver a meaningful blow to the royal institution while simultaneously eroding what remains of her own public standing. And in the background of this unfolding storm stand two daughters, torn between loyalty to their mother and devotion to the crown. The most heartbreaking element of this entire unfolding saga is the position of Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. Throughout years of turbulence, these two women have displayed unwavering loyalty to their mother, standing by her during her most trying times. At the same time, they have carefully nurtured respectful and cordial relationships with their father, Prince Andrew, and their uncle, King Charles. Now, they find themselves trapped in an agonizing conflict, torn between two worlds that are both deeply personal and profoundly public. On one side stands their mother, Sarah Ferguson, feeling alienated, wounded, and possibly poised to make a bold, desperate move that could redefine her legacy. On the other stands the monarchy itself, the institution that has shaped their lives, defined their titles, and secured their place in history. The mere prospect of a all memoir from their mother poses a direct threat to the delicate balance they have fought to maintain. If Fergie were to publish a book revealing private details, grievances, or confidential royal matters, Beatrice and Eugenie would be thrust into an impossible position, forced, whether directly or not, to choose between defending their mother or preserving their allegiance to the crown. The emotional toll of this predicament cannot be overstated. These sisters must somehow protect their mother, who feels cornered and dispossessed, while also safeguarding the dignity of the royal establishment that their family name depends upon. Every new headline, every whisper of a revenge memoir, heightens their anxiety. The idea that their mother's actions could trigger yet another wave of damaging publicity, compelling them to explain, to defend, or to quietly endure, weighs heavily upon them. Their hope, shared quietly among those close to them, is simple yet fragile: that Sarah Ferguson will choose peace over provocation, discretion over drama. For now, no official announcement has been made regarding the fate of Royal Lodge, yet every insider account, every subtle briefing, points to one inescapable conclusion: the eviction is not merely under consideration, it is already in motion. As with all things royal, the wheels of policy turn slowly but deliberately, behind a facade of dignified silence. Once set in motion, however, they are rarely reversed. The removal of Prince Andrew, and, by extension, Sarah Ferguson, from their Windsor residence, is increasingly viewed as an inevitable step in King Charles's ongoing effort to reshape the monarchy into a more efficient, accountable, and scandal-free institution. In today's era of transparency and austerity, the continued occupation of a sprawling taxpayer-subsidized property by non-working royals linked to controversy is simply indefensible. This looming eviction, then, is far more than a domestic dispute. It has become the symbolic flashpoint that could transform Sarah Ferguson's quiet resentment into open defiance. A memoir, in this light, would not just be a commercial project, it would represent an act of rebellion, a literary counterstrike against a system she believes has cast her aside. The situation confronting Sarah Ferguson is as complex as it is tragic. She remains a woman of contradictions, fiercely loyal to her family, yet frequently undermined by her own impulsive decisions, possessing charm and resilience, yet often lacking the restraint demanded by proximity to the throne. As royal expert Richard Fitzwilliams has warned, the potential release of a memoir underscores the perilous crossroads at which Fergie now stands. A truthful and well-documented account could indeed be catastrophic for the monarchy, but a sensationalized or unverifiable narrative would almost certainly obliterate what remains of her credibility, and by extension, wound the daughters who have stood by her so faithfully. Ultimately, this is not merely the story of a royal scandal, it is a human story, one of loyalty, pride, and the unbearable tension between love for family and duty to the crown. The decision Sarah Ferguson faces now will ultimately define her legacy, and more urgently, the emotional well-being of her beloved daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. All eyes are now on the palace, waiting to see whether an official announcement will confirm her removal from Royal Lodge, and whether that move might trigger the long-feared literary bombshell. The tension could not be higher. One wrong step could send shockwaves through the royal family, with consequences none of them can fully predict. But what do you think about this? Should Sarah Ferguson release her memoir and finally tell her side of the story? Or could the fallout be far too devastating, both for her family and the monarchy? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Your insights help shape our understanding of these complex royal dramas. And, as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time as we continue uncovering the evolving saga inside the House of Windsor. Thank you for watching.